Everyone, welcome to this explainer. Right now, literally as we speak, there's a silent, invisible battle for survival happening right inside you and, well, all around you too. Today, we're going to decode the incredible ways living organisms detect and react to their highly unpredictable environments just to survive. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. 1. The art of survival. 2. Maintaining internal balance. 3. Coordinating a human response. 4. How plants respond. 5. The magic of auxin. And 6. 2 systems of control.
Starting off with Section 1, the art of survival. So think about the absolute most fundamental problem every single organism faces out there in the natural world. The environment is just constantly changing, right? To survive, whether that means dodging a hungry predator or just finding your next meal, you've got to be on high alert. Organisms detect external triggers, which biologists call stimuli. Think of a sudden drop in temperature, a bright flash of light, or even physical touch. Specialized cells called receptors detect these stimuli, and they instantly trigger a physical response. It's this rapid-fire sequence, completely perfected by evolution, designed to keep you alive and boost your chances of survival.
Moving on to Section 2, maintaining internal balance.
Now, dodging a predator is a pretty obvious external response, but we're also constantly fighting this invisible internal battle against the environment as well. And that brings us to a really massive concept in biology, homeostasis. It's essentially the maintenance of a constant internal environment, keeping conditions strictly within a set limit. Think of it like a highly advanced smart home thermostat, just constantly working in the background so your cells don't die and your enzymes can keep functioning optimally.
Let's look at 2 incredible examples of this side by side. Imagine you step out into the freezing cold. Your brain's thermoregulatory center instantly uses skin receptors to coordinate a response, keeping your core strictly around 37 degrees Celsius. But then, notice the completely different mechanism happening down in your kidneys. They're controlling your body's water content by using a hormone called ADH to either conserve water or release it as urine. So you've got 2 totally different balancing acts, both managed flawlessly by homeostasis.
That brings us to Section 3, coordinating a human response.
So how does the body actually pull this off automatically? Well, whether it's a lightning-fast nervous reaction or a slightly slower chemical one, every single involuntary reaction follows this exact universal 4-step chain. Step 1, a stimulus occurs. Step 2, a receptor detects it. Step 3, that data rushes to a coordination center, like your brain, your spinal cord, or your pancreas. And finally, Step 4, an effector, which is usually a muscle or a gland, springs into action to bring about the specific response.
You can really see how elegantly this chain plays out when you're dehydrated. Your blood-water volume drops, and that's your stimulus right at the top. This travels down to the receptor. Specifically, osmoreceptors in your hypothalamus detect that drop. Then, the effector kicks into gear as the pituitary gland releases more of that ADH hormone. The response? Your kidneys reabsorb more water, meaning way less is lost in urine. It is just an incredibly elegant closed-loop survival system.
All right, let's pivot a bit for Section 4, how plants respond.
Since we just looked at how humans regulate their complex internal environments, it's easy to look at flora and suffer from what's called the illusion of stillness. We kind of just assume that because plants don't walk around, they don't move. But actually, plants are far from static. They absolutely must execute directional growth to survive, reaching up for light to power photosynthesis and digging deep down with gravity to properly anchor their roots. In biology, we call these vital directional growth responses tropisms.
And this setup reveals such a beautiful contrast in the rules of survival, depending on which part of the plant we're talking about. A positive response simply means growing toward a stimulus, while a negative response means growing away from it. So shoots show a positive phototropic response, reaching up toward the light, but a negative geotropic response, growing away from the downward pull of gravity. Roots do the exact opposite. They show a positive geotropic response, diving down into the earth with gravity and moving away from the light.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 5, the magic of auxin.
So, you've got to wonder, how exactly does a plant bend toward the light without any muscles or a nervous system? From a macro perspective, we clearly see the whole plant physically bending to maximize its sun exposure. But the real secret weapon driving this incredible movement isn't visible to the naked eye. It's actually happening on a microscopic level just beneath the growing tips of those shoots.
If you look closely at how these green shoots operate, you'll see the trick. When light shines strongly from one side, plant growth regulators called auxins, which are essentially plant hormones, physically migrate. They diffuse away from the light and pack heavily into the shaded side of the shoot. Because of this uneven distribution, the cells in the dark actually grow faster and get longer than the cells in the sun, literally forcing the plant to bend toward the light. It's amazing.
Now, the absolutely crucial distinction to remember here is a mechanism called cell elongation. Auxin doesn't trigger cell division to make new cells. Amazingly, it is simply stretching and elongating the cells that are already there on the shaded side of the plant. That's the real magic behind the movement.
And finally, Section 6, 2 systems of control.
To bring all of this together, the way complex living organisms process these endless external and internal changes relies on 2 overarching systems. In humans, this entire orchestration, from shivering in the cold to conserving water, relies on total, seamless teamwork. The nervous system provides those rapid electrical responses, while the endocrine system uses chemicals in the blood for slightly slower but sustained adjustments. Together, they form the ultimate survival engine, constantly adapting.
We've seen how perfectly these systems have evolved to handle natural, everyday variations. But I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. As our global climate shifts at a rapid pace, bringing extreme temperatures and sudden droughts, can these ancient, naturally balanced systems of homeostasis and tropisms actually keep up? Or will our environment change faster than biology can respond? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning the systems that keep us alive.